And it's finally here, guys. Diablo 4 just received a massive update, and I still technically think it's going through that update process right now, which is probably why a lot of people are having intermissions or delays in their gameplay, because it is currently being developed and worked on and implemented as people are still on the server. But either way, we got a massive update. Let's dive right in and cover all of the big important stuff that you guys need to know. So starting off with these patch notes, there are a ton of optimization, guys. Everything from UI fixes, you've got standard bug fixes, gameplay fixes, we have individual save fixes, miscellaneous fixes, you name it, it is a mega ton of fixes. Now, obviously for this video, I'm not going to read it word for word every single fix that they currently have applied in the game, because obviously Diablo 4 is new. This list is a massive list, and it's going to be a ton of like pure optimization, some things you might have experienced, some things you might not. So either way, if you guys are interested in checking out the full list for yourself, I always put the link down below in the description. But nevertheless, let's dive into the true meat and potatoes in the W for Diablo. Check this out. Under the gameplay adjustments, they are going to be making a massive increase to experience rewards. The very first thing they mention is significantly increasing the experience awarded from completing nightmare dungeons. They're significantly increasing the experience gained from killing monsters inside of nightmare dungeons as well. Additionally, for Held Tide chests, they are going to provide substantially more bonus experience when opened, and then significantly increase rewarded experience from completing individual whispers across the board. Last but not least, they also mentioned they're fixing an issue with no experience was rewarded from completing the holdout style event that can occur after finishing dungeon objectives. And this experience gain is huge. Not only does it make the nightmare dungeons a lot more valuable to individual players, especially in-game players, but it is hopefully going to stop the endless repetitive grind that a lot of these in-game players, especially content creators, have been doing over and over again, just trying to grind their way from level 75 to level 100 in the game, and then complaining, about the content being too repetitive. Well, that hopefully ends now with the developers officially buffing the nightmare dungeons and claiming that this is going to be the best way for in-game players at the current state of the game to grind out the levels and to also grind out the gear they're looking for. So hopefully that does officially end that repetitive grind. Now, in addition to the experience rewards, we also have some gameplay adjustments. Starting it off, we have the Helltide roaming bosses will now more consistently drop higher quality loot. The players can now teleport to their nightmare dungeon directly through their map, and then the weekly bonus caches from world bosses no longer have a level requirement for opening. And once again, this is a massive W for the D4 devs. They're essentially listening to player feedback and providing optimization accordingly. The very first one here when it comes to a W, and that is giving the players the ability to teleport to their nightmare dungeon specifically via their map after popping a sigil. Again, a very welcoming change, and it's going to make nightmare dungeons that much more valuable compared to other, standard dungeons where you're just running on repetition. So 100% welcoming change. Not only that, the second one here is now making the bosses more viable inside of Helltides. Leading up to this specific patch, a lot of players were just skipping those bosses that randomly spawn in the Helltides because they just take significantly longer to kill compared to just massive hordes of mobs that will then drop a bunch of cinders, and because you're racing against that time, it just really wasn't efficient. Well, now you might not want to skip out on those bosses because they can drop significantly increased quality loot. So 100% going to be something you want to make sure you're taking advantage of. And then last but not least, I can finally pop open those caches that I've been storing in my stash that dropped at level 80, even though I'm not quite there yet from the world bosses. So 100% excited about those. And then the last important thing I want to mention from this patch notes is the developer note directly to the community. It says we are currently working on increasing the monster and elite density of in-game content and plan to introduce this change earlier in Season 1. And speaking of Season 1, you might not have realized, but we're only a few weeks away before we officially will see it in-game. In the last dev live stream, they did say they're still on the standard schedule of bringing Season 1 mid to late July. So as long as they stick to that, we're going to be seeing Season 1 come sooner than we think, and potentially we're going to be seeing the increase of monster and elite densities in the in-game content. My guess that in-game content would be referring to nightmare dungeons and also things like Helltides and also Legion events, things that are going to be, geared towards the in-game content and the in-game players. Either way, guys, tons of really, really good stuff here. Like I said, if you want to check it out for yourself, I'll put the link down below in the description. As always, you guys let me know what your thoughts are down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here for everything Diablo 4 related. and I'll see you guys in Sanctuary.